Hello and welcome to this Yamato game. And I am still in a division with Soul Redemption, who is still trying to play the Grossovoy. And we are playing on Haven Domination mode with CVs in the game. For Soul, that should be okay since the Grossovoy AA is really, really good. But Yamato is not as strong in that aspect. So I'm gonna be hoping a bit that the CV will not go for me. We spawn in the northwest side of the map, and I decided I will go to the south towards B, see if I can support there. Sol and I discussed that we have a CV in the game, and on our team we have both destroyers being quite large ones, while the enemy has both stealthy destroyers. They will have a pretty big advantage when it comes to capping. I want to utilize the island west of B to make it a bit more difficult for the CV to drop me and have some more time and hopefully support from the allies to shoot down airplanes that might be coming here. B is being capped by the enemy gearing. I try to get some shots out and get a few overpens, but nothing major. There are some ships pushing north that I can shoot at. First, Kurfürst behind the island, so it makes aiming a bit more difficult, but I shoot anyway. Get a decent enough hit at least. Worcester or Kurfürst pops out again, so I continue shooting, and I will more or less stay here for quite some time. I do show quite a lot of broadside to the east side of the map, so if there is anything that can shoot me, they have a good chance of doing some damage, but I figured if they hit me, I will be able to move forward behind island and save myself that way. I switch between the battleships and try to hit them in the broadside wherever I can. Quite bad hit there. Sol is meanwhile having, let's say, friendly discussion with someone who wants him to go into the cap. But considering they have stealthy DD there and they have a Wooster and also have a Minotaur, I'm gonna say that Sol is making the right decision to stay away since he would not survive long there. I get a good hit on the Musashi since he is very nicely sailing broadside. I consider shooting the Wooster, but the islands are a bit in the way, so I go back to the Musashi again. The enemy has, of course, capped both B and C, so we have a large disadvantage in that respect, but at least we have gotten the first kill. New Citadel Musashi, but basically only that did damage, so not the best elbow. Enemy Wooster is briefly spotted. There are some planes here now, but they are not really going for me. And we have support from our carrier as well. So I don't really feel like I have to move too much. Kurfürst again. Pushing in towards C. I get an okay hit on him. I decided to turn around, still go back to my previous position, but more having my front towards them instead of my side. Our Salem is going into B to try and cap. And in the south, you can see on the minimap, our Harugumo is fighting the Shima, while Seoul in the north is facing Ibuki and Musashi, and at times, I guess, also the CV, and is trying to do his best up there. A lot of the enemy team is currently in the C cap. And I try to get my guns around to finish off the Republic. I hit him, but don't get killed, but at least he dies. Our Salem will try to cap B dice, so we still don't have any way to contest the caps. Harugumo got the Shima kill in the south, so he should now be able to go north and cap. Meanwhile, Seoul is very much alone versus Gearing, Ibuki, and Musashi, and not very surprisingly, he dies once again, but he had really no support from our team, so he was in a really tough position. I take some shots at the curve first, but he's no sin, so don't do much damage. Wooster pops out, and I try to get my guns on him. I have the legendary on Yamato, so the guns turn very slowly. Wooster disappears again, so I turn back. Unfortunately, it turns in a bit, so I only get one overpen. Minotaur is shooting at me. Consider shooting at the Wooster, but then when the Minotaur pops out, I turn back to him. Starts reversing, my guns reload so I can fire. And I get a 19k salvo. 3 overpens and citadel, so not really the best hit there, but enough to severely damage him. I'm now being fired by both the Wooster and Minotaur, but the Minotaur goes out again for some reason, which enables me to fire once again, and this time he does not survive. Another citadel and he is dead. And I'm getting behind an island to help me from eating any HG spam from the Wooster. Some torpedoes from the Minotaur, I guess, but nothing that hit. And I can focus on the curve first and Iowa, which are pushing in a bit towards B. Try to decide which ship to shoot at, and the curve first shows most broadsides, so I take that one. No kill, unfortunately, but he is very low. Enemy CV tries to strike the Lion, get some kills, while my secondaries finishes the curve first, and I can see if I can maybe get Iowa as well. But the Lion secondary does that job. There is now a destroyer in A, so I need to move forward to avoid getting torp. And we desperately need a cap, so I will follow the example by the Lion and try to get into the B cap. Shooting another Musashi, but only overpen, so nothing good there. Rooster spotted again, but I'm trying to see if maybe I should finish Musashi, but he dies, which means I can focus on the Rooster instead. Lion finishes capping B, but the enemy has taken A, so they now have A, C, and D. We have significantly more ships though, so we should be okay. Our friendly CV is giving good cover for us. And as the rooster goes out, I can shoot at him. And kill him. So that's my third kill, and I now pass 160k damage, which is nothing really special in the Yamato. But still an okay amount of damage. I decide to go towards D, see if I can engage the Musashi and maybe also cap it, since we do need to cap. The enemy gearing in A dice, and thanks to that we can get back A. And the enemy is now down to only 3 ships. The Musashi, the book in the north, and the sea, which has not yet been spotted. Get A, and Harugumo goes into C to cap, while I slowly make my way towards D. Dialing is away a bit, so I can't fire at the Musashi right now, but I soon clear it and start opening up on him. Slows down a bit for the first salvo though, so that's a miss. But the St. Louis in our team kills the Ibuki, so now it's only Musashi and Midway left. Harugumo dies unfortunately, but I get a 28k salvo on Musashi. And now the Midway is a better target, so I decide to turn my attention to him instead. Doesn't look like he's turning or going very fast, so I aim quite close to him. And get almost 20k salvo on him. Enemy Midway calls St. Louis, but then our Midway kills the Musashi. And the game is about to end. I managed to pass 200k damage. The CV tries to strike me, but doesn't really matter since the game ends and we win. And as for the result screens, we get 214k damage, which is pretty good. Confederate and close quarter combat achievements. The second I get even though I only had 4 secondary hits, so that's pretty nice. 7 citadels and 4 kills, and roughly 8k XP with camos and flags. Almost 2.8k basic speed. I'm by far the top player on the team. The Midway was second, and he did a pretty good job at protecting us from the enemy CV. And of course, poor soul that was all alone in the north get third from the bottom. But this time it was actually not his fault. I think we can agree on that. But nevertheless, another game in which I have to carry him. All of my damage from my main battery, apart from, well, less than 1k from my secondaries. Get most of my damage from different battleships, some on the cruise I killed, and a bit on the enemy Midway as well. Pretty low potential damage. I was positioned most of the time so that I wasn't really focused. And I only eat about 50k damage, so not any major troubles in this game. Pretty decent XP and Commander XP, and some extra credits, which I guess can be useful. But all in all, pretty good game. Basically, Yamato being Yamato and doing what it does best, which is punishing anything that gives a bit too much broadside. So I hope you enjoyed that game.